What's up, everybody? This is Sam Shady with Shady Sports Network, and today I just wanted to ask you for a huge favor. We're growing very quickly thanks to all your guys' help, but I've got a little request for you guys, and all that is to hit that like button. So basically, the way the YouTube algorithm works is if they don't see an asinine amount of likes on each video, we will not grow. We will not be pushed out to new viewers. So without your help hitting that like button, subscribing, clicking those notifications, making sure you hit like on all these videos, we can't grow as quickly as we'd like to. So with that being said, please help support Shady Sports Network today by hitting that like button. It's completely free, doesn't cost you a thing, and in turn, it helps us continue creating great content for you to consume in the future. All right. First of all, I want to thank everybody who's tuning in already. But I wanted to start this one off with a quote from this man's head coach. So he said, Cedric Poole is one of the best leaders on and off the field I've had the pleasure of coaching. With Cedric, it's more than football. He's been first class from day one, and as a player, you build a defense around. He's always stepped up and made the play when he's called upon. He's he's on my first team all-player list. So without further ado, I want to introduce Cedric Poole, the defensive back from the Frisco Fighters. How you doing tonight, Cedric?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on. It's like I said, I'm a huge Frisco Fighters fan, so this is kind of like a fan interaction for me as much as it is an interview for a player.
Right. It's always great to have Fighter Nation included into my journey and everything that I have going on. I appreciate you having me on tonight.
Absolutely. So why don't we start with a brief introduction in your own words, and then we'll get into detail as we go.
Okay. Well, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I grew up a middle child with an older sister and a younger brother. At a young age, I basically had to make a decision. Coming from Birmingham, you can either go up or you can go down. So I kind of picked up a football and I decided that was going to be my way out, and I just stuck with it all
Awesome.
the way. I just stuck with it, and it ended up paying off for me in the long run. So I'm forever grateful for it.
Absolutely. It's obviously paying off for you quite well. You had an amazing season this season, and it sounds like your entire career has been more or less storybook since you hit the professional level.
Right, right. It's been a
So
bit of a
we're going to
roller
start off
coaster for
with your
sure.
college background. Sorry to talk over you about that. I didn't mean to do that. You were attending Mississippi Delta Community College to begin your college career. Talk to me about the level of competition you were playing against at the time.
Playing in the MACJC was extremely difficult. Coming in at a young age, being a freshman, you're not really you don't really know what you're stepping into. And so luckily I trained myself, prepared myself enough in high school that when I stepped on the field, I wasn't a boy amongst men. I was a young man who was ready to play with the big boys, I would want to say. And the level of competition just made me rise up and grind harder. And I ended up paying off for him in the long haul. So I had some great teammates, had some great coaches, and I just took the whole experience in and tried to make the best of it for the most part.
Absolutely. We got a couple comments I'm going to read real quick. Justin's tuning in. He said, "Hey guys, Cedric
Yeah,
Poole, my bro.
that's my guy.
We'll be joining Cedric Poole in 2023." And last but not least, Phenom. That's about
Yes,
right.
sir.
So you end up transferring to Miles College, where you made a name for yourself playing defense and serving as the primary return man. You played
Right.
in 10 games in 2016. You could correct me if any of these stats are off. You know how that goes at that level.
Mhm.
In 2016, racking up 60 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 fumble recovery, 4 interceptions for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as
Right.
12 tipped passes and 19 kick returns and punt returns for 406 yards and 1 touchdown. Uh,
Right. Right.
that was all correct?
Yeah, it was correct. It was
Okay,
correct.
perfect. So talk to me about how you felt coming out of this season. I mean, you had an amazing year.
None of it surprised me. After my experience in junior college, like I was talking about in Mississippi Delta, I ended up being one of the highest recruited cornerbacks in junior college that year. But I ended up being ineligible. So me being ineligible, I went from a Division One player to a Division Two player Not because of, athleticism or anything on the field, just because of academics, basically. I was academically ineligible. So when I got to Miles, I can kind of say I didn't think it would be the same type of football. I kind of underestimated the competition. But there were some great guys. There were some great players, some great coaches, great teams in the SIAC. So I ended up having to step up my game. I transitioned over from cornerback to safety. And the rest was just history. We ran a triangle defense where basically the safeties called the entire defense. So they gave me a lot of leeway and a lot of I want to say leadership over the defense, over the team, and it made a lot of people believe in me. It made me believe in myself that I could lead a group of men and we could be successful. So I was thankful for that process. In my first year at Miles, I was at Miles for 2 seasons. Man, in my second season, I came in as a senior. I was on a senior preseason All-American list. I came in, racked up, I want to say about 60 tackles. I was an All-American punt returner and safety, an HBCU All-American. I was first team safety and punt returner in the SIAC, and I was a first team All-Region safety. So it turned out pretty well for me. Depending on my experience, doubling back from my experience with junior college, being ineligible, it kind of put me under the hold a little bit. I was a little bit, I want to say, depressed about it. But when I get into Miles, I ended up winning the championship and getting all these accolades. So it kind of felt good to finally being recognized and seen for my ability.
Exactly. Your time at Miles was kind of foreshadowing for what was to come in your professional career with the championship run, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of like how your story had progression there as well.
Right.
So I'm curious, what happened that you ended up in the arena football right out of college?
Okay, so at Miles, I really only played 3 years of college football. So when I got to Miles, I played 2 seasons, and instead of going into my senior year, I ended the draft with so much commotion going on, having scouts at practice. It just seemed like the right thing to do. I entered the draft. I went through the whole draft process with one of my teammates, Caleb Duncan. I was training down in Bessemer, Alabama at the Warehouse Performance Institute with Mike McCoy. I was with a lot of Alabama guys, Blake Sims, Trent Richardson's, Christian Jones. I was with a lot of those guys, just building connections and building networks. And the draft came and the draft went. You know how it kind of goes sometimes. I ended up getting undrafted. And I had some agents that was working very hard for me. But at that time, you know how it is, playing at the HBCU level, the level of competition may not be as respected as, playing D1 FBS ball. So I ended up working in a factory actually for a year. I was working in a Mercedes factory, and I was just kind of down on myself, trying to understand what was my purpose in life, or what was my purpose for wanting to continue to be an athlete. And so I reached out to one of my friends who was playing in the National Arena League in the NAL. And I was asking him basically how did he get onto a team. So he sent me a guy's phone number and email. I emailed him my highlight. And 3 days later, I checked my email and there was a Billy back in there. So I looked at the contract, I signed the contract, and I walked right out of the factory. I didn't even clock out or anything. I just went straight to the gym. And I had my mind set on getting out of Birmingham and not coming back.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What a story. I mean, I wasn't aware that you actually worked a year in a factory, so that makes your success at the arena level all the more sweet, I would feel.
Right.
So you end up, as you said, within the AFL at the time under head coach Billy Back with the Carolina Cobras. You ended up having an amazing season, immediately becoming a key contributor for the team, what ends up being a championship squad at that. How were you able to adapt to the game so quickly?
It wasn't a quick adaptation, really. I was the last person to actually get picked to make the team. And that was a big eye-opener for me. It was a big ego check. You have to leave egos at the door. Coming from junior college, I was the guy. And then I get to Miles, I was the guy again. And now I get to Carolina, and there's so many great guys, so many vets that are in front of me who I have to learn from. And so when I first came in, it was kind of different, with the high motion, with everything happening so fast. I couldn't quite grasp it yet, but one thing I could do is compete. And everything that I would do, I was going to do it 100%. And I think Coach Beck kind of saw that in me. I was down all around the field. I was trying to check all the best players every rep, and I just gave it everything I had. So the first initial and against the Jacksonville Sharks, I didn't dress. The Jacksonville Sharks were the defending NAL champs. So this game, I didn't dress, and it kind of, I'll say now, it broke my heart, honestly. It broke me. But I wouldn't give up. All it did was make me go hard. I got into the film. I got with the older guys, and I just had it set in my mind that was the only game that I would miss because of my ability. So the next week come in, we getting ready for main balance. One of my DBs, one of my great friends, fell on the play. He fell on the play. He gave up a touchdown. They put me in 2 plays later. I caught my first of 11 interceptions. So after I caught that first one, it was contagious. I just wanted to catch one every week. I wanted to beat the last guy. I wanted to beat myself from last week. So if I caught one last week, the next week I wanted to catch 2. So I ended up averaging an interception a game all the way into the championship. So it ended up being pretty great for me.
No doubt. What to talk about an amazing season. I mean, not only on your personal level with the individual accolades, but the fact that you were able to help lead your team to a championship. I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment in your first season of professional level of any level. I mean, let alone the adaptation from the outdoor game to the indoor game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. And I had some great guys with me along the way. Some great guys who were teaching me. I had Charles McCullum, who was the IFL outside lead passer. Jordan Jolly, Tyrone Laughinghouse, Michael Green, Pasquale Vacquiao. And I just took all of those great players that were great in different situations, and I put into what I already brought to the game myself. And so now I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor, and I'm putting everything together, and it's starting to flourish a little bit.
Absolutely. So I'm going to play one of your highlight videos. This comes straight off of his YouTube channel. So if you want to catch all of his highlights, he is on YouTube as Cedric Poole. So definitely go check him out, youtube.com/Cedric Poole. But this is, I believe, from the championship season. Oh, actually, sorry about that. Wrong one. This is from the championship season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. 2018.
Sorry about that.
It was an exciting year. It was a very exciting year. We had a very close-knit team. That was really a brotherhood. That's probably my favorite team of all time. I really love those guys from that team.
I could understand.
They made it fun playing with
them. So this championship run, it was in 2018, your first season with the Cobras. How long did you end up staying with the team after that?
Just 2 years, the 2018 and the 2019 season. And both years went pretty great. One year we went to the championship and we won 66-8. So, the defense pretty much showed, our strength and what we can do with our great offense that we always had. And then the next year, the following year, 2019, we made it back to the championship again. And I ended up making a second team all-league kick return. And I missed most of the season with injuries. I had a turf toe and I split my hand open. So I had stitches in my hand most of the season. And we still kind of found a way to get it done. Made it to the championship, and we fell short within a minute. And I ended up catching 2 interceptions in the championship game. So, when it comes to competing, I'm going to compete at the highest level. Whether I'm healthy or unhealthy, I'm always give it 110%.
Absolutely. You kind of have to. I mean, especially because you know that everything you're putting on film is watched by every other team out there that you're basically trying to eventually potentially have a job with. So, I mean, this is important. I mean, you have to put your full effort out there, even if you are hurt. And that's one thing that I don't think a lot of fans take into account, especially at this level.
Right. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. And every play is an interview. So if you come in unprepared, you come in not looking like the job that you want and not the job that you have, you'll stay in the same spot. You'll basically put yourself in quicksand.
Exactly. So after your 2-year stint with Carolina, you end up signing with the Spokane Shock, if I'm not mistaken. And unfortunately, the 2020 season ends up canceled. How did you find out about the cancellation of the IFL season at the time?
We were actually in training camp. We were already in training camp. Had already made final cuts. We were actually getting ready, preparing for the game week that we thought we would potentially have. So with COVID, we knew that it was basically up in the air. We didn't know what was going to happen. And the worst thing possible actually happened. They canceled the season. And in my regards, I'm pretty thankful for it, because at that time the IFL was way different than playing arena. With the two high motions and the jet sweeps and having actual running backs, it was a little different. So I basically had to reset myself away from arena and like understand that I'm playing indoor. And even though they're both inside, they're two totally different games, two totally different speeds. So once I got that grasp, my ability started to change. You started to see the different type of player that I could be and the potential that I had. So when I first got to Spokane, when they canceled the season, I was playing corner. And I was having a little rough time. I had a rough time reading the two high motions instead of one. And when they canceled the season, all I did was watch all of the training camps film. I watched every route, I timed every route, and I just trends. And I noticed things that quarterbacks like to do and tendencies that they had, and they were similar to, the NAL. So all I did was I had to switch my mindset and understand that, your brain is the most powerful thing. So I had to slow myself down and just understand that I knew how to play this game. I just had to be comfortable playing it. And once I did, I transitioned from corner to strong safety with the Spokane Shock in 2021. And it went pretty great. I was learning under Mike Green. Mike Green was a former defensive player of the year, and that was his spot. That was his spot where he was. So he basically showed me the spacing, the landmarks, and everything that you would need to make yourself great in the game. And me already being a dog, coming from Division II, coming from Mississippi Junior College, I can scrap. I'm a scrappy guy. So it was nothing for me to just come in and get dirty and, put my gloves on, put my hard hat on, and to show up to work. So that's what I try to do, week in and week out, and, just be the best teammate I could along the process of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how did your time with the Shock compare to your time with the Cobras?
The time the Shock was a little different because now I had an owner who kind of saw the abilities that I had. The owner of the team, Sam Adams. So when I came in, he saw as a young guy who was feisty, who was hungry, who wanted something, and gave me a chance. I had billboards all over the city. You come in the locker room, I got pictures all up in the locker room. I have pictures all in the facilities. And it was just a great feeling to, finally see what I've been putting out kind of being rewarded back to me. And it was a great experience. And I'm forever grateful for it.
Absolutely. For anybody who's a little bit younger watching and who's not familiar with Sam Adams, longtime NFL offense or defensive lineman, sorry about that. I believe he played with Buffalo for a while, and Baltimore were the two teams that he was really known for, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So in that 2020 season, unfortunately, it was canceled. We move on to 2021. You're with the Shock still, who was once again run by head coach Billy Back. Talk to me about your relationship with Coach Back and how it's helped you follow him to multiple locations.
Coach Back, cool guy. He's very funny. He's a jokester. But with Coach Back, you also have to know you can joke around with him, but when it's time to go to work, you got to be ready to go to work. And Coach Back he's always had his core group of guys. And his core group of guys, I ended up catching them at their tail end of their careers when they were getting ready to, kind of die down and retire. And so they kind of in a sort of way passed me the baton. So that's why it was always so easy to just follow Coach to whatever team he went to, because most of those guys
having an issue.
I was just saying how it was so easy to just transition and move over with those guys, being that I already had playing experience with them. I already knew all of them, and so it was pretty easy. It was about 10 to 12 of us came over to the Shock from Carolina. So it was a pretty easy transition for me. I pretty much knew the whole team already.
Absolutely. I've talked about that a little bit on this show before with Craig Peterson, who had a brief stay in Spokane there. So we got some more comments rolling in. We got Tyron Laughinghouse says Killa.
That's the killer. That's the GOAT. That's one of the guys who taught me right there.
Really? Very
Yes,
nice.
sir.
Well, thank you for tuning in, Tyron. I appreciate that. And then Gina, she
Miss
says,
Gina, how you doing? That's the Cleveland. That's the Gladiators, Duke City.
very nice. Well, thank you for
Duke City
tuning
in the
in.
house.
Appreciate all you guys. That's very nice of you. Definitely appreciate all the support for Cedric because he's a hell of a player in my personal opinion. And I think he's probably going to be playing outdoors somewhere next season.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope so. I'm definitely working for it still right now.
Absolutely.
Just got done.
So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the Shock's 2021 season was the first season of your career in which you were under 500.
Right,
Okay.
definitely. And it hurt me, and it felt a little bit terrible because last year I endured a spinal injury where I was getting burners and losing sensation in my arm, and I was continuing to try to play. So I was worsening my condition. So I ended up going from top in the league, number 1 in the league, to falling almost to 16th, almost out of the top 20, just because I kept trying. I didn't know how to turn the on button off, I would say. And it basically hurt me because I knew I could change a lot of games. I'm a game changer. And just to see my team go from, I want to say we were 6-2. We went from 6-2 to maybe losing 5 or 6 straight. And it was just granching, man. I couldn't take it. It was hurtful. So all it did was it just made me get into the lab. It made me want to get stronger. It made me want to take care of my body more. It made me listen to my body more. It just made me more of a student of myself because I knew that I already understood the game. So the game was easy. I just had to do the rest of it to make sure I was able to play in the game, I want to say.
Gotcha. Very nice. So, I mean, despite the under 500 season, you guys still ended up making the playoffs. So you can definitely hang your hat on that. I mean, you've made the playoffs literally, I think, every season that you've played football, basically.
Yeah, definitely. It's always the goal. It's always the goal to get the ring. And if you ever come up short, I feel bad for whoever I have to see next year because they're going to have to feel it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you again follow Coach back one more time, this time to the Frisco Fighters for the 2022 season. What was your first impression of the organization versus your previous experiences?
I want to say this. When I got to Spokane was first top notch as well. It just had just like every organization, it has its ups and downs, but its downs just kept going down. I want to say it never came back up. So when I got to Frisco, it was the same thing. It was a first class franchise. Everything was ran top notch, from the coaches all the way down to the trainers, down to the water boys, down to the strength and conditioning coaches. We had top everything. We trained at the sports academy with the indoor and outdoor fields. Right where we're practicing, I can look right over down the field. I can see Myles Garrett. I can see different type of people. Amari Cooper. Just motivation. To some people it may be intimidating, but to me, I knew that I wanted to be on the field. I deserved to be on the field with those guys. So if I saw them, it just made me go 10 times harder. And that day, for whatever rep or for everything that we were doing. So coming to Frisco, I like Frisco. I can say that. I love Frisco. I love Fighter Nation. It was great. It was a great experience from the first game to the last game. It had its ups and downs, but it had more ups than downs. So I'm grateful for that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this season was amazing. I mean, you guys got on a roll at one point, and it was like you were unstoppable for a while there. You ended up with the best regular season record. Talk to me about how it felt for you as one of the leaders of that team to kind of get on that roll and just steamroll teams at a point in time.
We had so many great players. We had so many great guys who could do so many different things. We complemented each other in so many ways. We just had to understand that you can't be a great individual and want to have great team success. So, we had to have some dog fights. We had to have some disagreements. But at the end of the day, we all had a similar goal. We all wanted to be great. We all wanted to have a ring. And we all wanted to be 1-0 at the end of the week. So we all bought into the process and looked like it happened. Every week we went 1-0 until the last game. And so it had its growing pains. But, with every great team, you have to go through triumph. You have to go through diversity. If you can't get to the light without going to the dark. So everything we went through, it kind of pretty much showed. So whenever it got tough, we never got down on each other because we already knew. We went through worse during the week. We practiced for bad situations. We practiced for every situation. So we can be up by 60 or down by 60. We're still going to play the same with the same mindset that we were going to win.
Absolutely. So I'm going to put on another highlight video, the one that I was accidentally playing earlier, the Frisco Fighters video.
Okay.
But with that being said, I want to ask you a question that you're uniquely qualified to answer. And I know I'm not normally a person who likes to do comparisons, but is Billy Back the Bill Belichick of indoor football?
Bill Belichick. Hey, I wouldn't say he's not. I wouldn't say he's not at all. He's a great coach. He always finds a way to win. He's always going to have the great players and the great pieces that it takes to win. And as long as he's coaching, he's going to win. I say that. So it's kind of hard to stop him. It's kind of hard to stop him. He's so cool. He's going to keep the team looking good. We're going to always have the best uniforms. We always do. And it's hard to compete with a guy like that who's so close and close-knit to his family. So he's close-knit to the team. He's just like a big brother in a more serious type of way, I would want to say. It depends on the situation. But, yeah, Coach Beck, man, he's a great guy. He's a good coach, and it's hard to beat him.
100%. One of the best in the game, personally, if you're asking my opinion. We got another comment I wanted to highlight. Jordan Mosley says, my dog, an excellent technician and a dog of a competitor. There's some hits on this highlight film that definitely prove what he's saying right now, 100% true.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely am a technician. I break everything down to the step, to the twitch, to what arm you use first. I'm very tedious about things. So you have to be exact about what you're saying. So if you want me to if someone runs a 6-yard route, I'm going to know if he does anything different past 6 yards. So I pay attention to everything. I pay attention to signals, colors, numbers, everything. So I'm just locked in always. I'm always looking for a chance to make a play or to help someone around me make a play at all times.
Absolutely, as it should be. Part of being a leader on that defense is understanding that when the defense wins, even if it's not necessarily you making the play, it's still a victory for the team.
Right. We just want to get on the field, get our turnover, and get off. That's the thing for us. We want to get turnovers every possession. We don't just want to go out and stop. We want to go out and basically we want to just make the offense quit every possession. Just let them know that there's no way you can beat us. Even if we're not on our best game, you still can't beat us because we know what's happening. So that's my thing.
Absolutely true. I mean, you end up having an amazing season. I believe it was around 60 tackles, 23 pass deflections. Was that correct?
Yeah, 3 of them, and 3 interceptions.
And 3 interceptions in 16 games.
Yeah.
You also added a reception for 22 yards and a touchdown, as well as 2 kick returns for 17 yards. Were you satisfied with your performance as an individual and as a team?
As an individual, I can't really say. I'm hardest on myself. So those 23 pass breakups, to me, they should have been 23 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't go that way, but heads to play. Every play as a defensive back, you just want to get your hands on the ball. I'd rather it be 23 pass breakups than 23 receptions, I would say. I'd take that all day. But as a team, yeah, I'm pleased with my guys. I feel like, we came out every game and we competed. And we didn't fall. We didn't give up. We never just took a knee and gave in. We fought as much as we could, as long as we could for every game, man. And if you look down on us, we'll make you pay for it. Or if you think that we weren't going to compete to the level of our ability, we will make you, bite those words, I would want to say.
I would agree. So I'm curious, you've played cornerback, you've played free safety, you've played strong safety. Which position do you prefer?
It's kind of tough to say. Whatever position the best player on the other team plays. So if the best player on the other team is in the slot, I want to be in the slot. If he's on the outside, I want to be on the outside. If the best player is a running back, I want to be a strong safety now. So I want to be wherever their best player is because I know that's what the play will be. And I'm a competitor. So I don't want to go to the worst receiver or the receiver who's kind of good. I want to go to the best one. So at the end of that game, I can push my argument that I'm the best, if that makes sense, because that's what I do it for. I want to be the best at every level, every snap, every game. And that's what I shoot for. That's what I aim for every time I put my equipment on.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer that if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So that makes
Definitely.
perfect sense. So you've proven yourself in the return game on defense and played offense at times as well. What do you look to achieve in 2023?
2023, I just want to put it all together and just show that I have the brains, the ability, I have the size, the speed, basically whatever you need. I'm going to have leadership skills, whatever you need as a man to come and produce on the level of the professional level. You know, I can come in and do it. I can come in and lead a group, or I can come in and just play my role. Whatever's needed of me, I can come in and I'm going to do it 110%.
Absolutely. So I don't believe this was in the question list I sent you, but what were some NFL players, current, past, present, whenever, that you modeled your game after?
Patrick Peterson, Eric Berry, Tyrann Mathieu is probably my favorite player of all time. I like Darius Slay. I like a lot of guys who is kind of small and feisty, but they have a little weight on them because I'm 200 plus. So if you look at me, you won't think I can move the way I can, but I can actually move and I can actually tackle pretty well, also cover. So guys who can also cover and tackle, those are the kind of guys who, you know, I kind of try to model my game after. I didn't want to have any weak spot or any weakness for a team to try to expose. So, you know, some corners who like to catch interceptions, most of them don't like to tackle. Or the guys who like to tackle, most of them can't catch. So my thing was I was always a great returner. And I played offense most of my life. So when me switching over from offense to defense in college, that was my way of showing that I still had some of my explosiveness in offense. So what I wanted, every time I touched the ball, I just wanted to, you know, just elaborate or put that exclamation point on it to let it know that I'm still a ball, I'm still an athlete, I'm not just a defensive back.
Absolutely. In fact, why don't we go ahead and talk about that? At one point in your career, you were actually a quarterback, running the offensive side of the field. So I'm curious, how did you transition to defensive back, and how do you think it helped you be a better defensive back at that?
Yeah, I played quarterback for most of my life, all the way up to through high school. And when I first got to junior college, I was still trying to be a quarterback. But 5'11", it's kind of tough. It's only Russell Wilson, and there's only so many of them doing it at their height. But I could really throw it. I had a couple 75, 70-yard touchdown bombs. I was really elusive. I could run a lot. And it just taught me how to understand the way that quarterbacks think, the leverages that they look at, the angles in which they try to throw the ball. Just like as a quarterback, if I would ever see the back of a defender's head, I would throw it. So as a defender, that kind of helped me to never show the quarterback the back of my head. I would always try to show him, my face mask, so he wouldn't throw it on me or for whatever reason. And it helped me with tackling because I was pretty shifty. I can move around pretty much how I show on punt return. So it helped me with my tackling skills. I would try to not break down as much and shoot through the leg and tackle and roll. So I would just try to play defense as if I was playing against myself, basically. And so that's what kind of helped me to be a defensive back. Also, my competitive spirit and me being a student of the game. All those players that I named, I would go in and study them and study their steps, study their movements, study what they study. Because, on YouTube, they have everything on YouTube nowadays. When people, they drop their gems and stuff. So when they drop their gem, I take it and, put it in my memory bank. And I go use it and remix it into what I am right now. So, it all came to be fruitful. It all came to blossom, and I'm just thankful for it.
Absolutely, as you should be. At the end of the day, you're a professional football player, man. You may not have made it to your absolute dream of the NFL yet, but you're playing out your dream at the end of the day.
Right, right. And the dream never dies. So anytime I suit up, you know, like I said, I'm dressing for the job that I want, not the job that I have. So if I'm in the IFL, I'm still gonna play every rep like I want to be in the NFL because I do. So I'm not gonna take any playoff. And if the guy in front of me takes a playoff, I'm gonna expose him. And his coach is gonna see that he took a playoff, and I'm gonna make sure I do that because that's what I aim to do. That's my job.
Absolutely. So we talked about your desire to get back to the outdoor game. I assume I know the answer to this question. I mean, being that you're a Birmingham native, did you pursue the USFL in 2022?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, but I did it kind of late. Dealing with that spinal injury in Spokane, I wasn't really sure if I would be able to still play football. Sometimes doctors give you results and they tell you information, but they don't really know how your body or how you may respond, what type of individual you are. And I was so driven to get back. And, as you can see what happened in 2022, you can't never really just go off what anyone tells you. So they told me that I may never play again. And I ended up coming out having one of my best individual seasons. So I would love to be on the Birmingham USFL team. I would love to, go back home and play in front of fans that I grew up around, fans that watched me grow up, fans that follow me from Little League all the way until now, and just show my appreciation to my city and just to show that I've been out doing it for the city this whole time and that nothing's changed, that I still have the same ability, still have the same explosiveness, and I'm still that same guy that they used to call prime time.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What a nickname to have, by the way. That's some big shoes to fill there.
Definitely, definitely.
So we talked about Coach Back. He's one of the best in the indoor game, one of the best in the game in general. I mean, I don't want to preface that by saying indoor. Talk to me about the level of development you've received under him.
Coach Back is a guy so when he gives you information, he's not going to force it on you. So you're either going to get it, you're going to respond, or you're not going to play. So that's when I kind of got that in my rookie year when they were giving information. You only had so.
Wow. Give us just a second. It looks
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. All right, I think we're good again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so with Coach Beck, you just have to retain information quickly, at the professional level. You don't have time to be baby. You don't have time to just sit down and be taught step by step. So he just taught me how to be a pro. He taught me how to come in, how to pay attention to detail and be ready to work every day. And, I appreciate him for that too. Because coming in, like I said, with everyone would say they don't have an ego, but everyone has some type of ego, especially being a football player. You have to have some type of belief in yourself. And basically, he kind of broke me down a little bit and re-taught me how to retain information at a speedy level because you have small margins for error at this level. But this is how people pay their bills, so it's how they feed their family. So you don't really have time to play around. So that's what I gained most from coach, to come in and be ready to work and be ready to put out results. He like to say, give me results, don't give me the baby.
So, hey, that makes sense. That makes sense. So you quite honestly have the body type and athleticism to play any position in the secondary and realistically a nickel linebacker spot. Is there a certain way you believe a defensive coordinator should use you to get the most out of your abilities?
Nah, I'm a Swiss Army knife. You can put me anywhere. And I bet you I come out victorious in some type of way. We have 10 reps. I'm going to win at least 6 or 7 of them. If I don't, we're going to do 10 reps again. I'm going to keep going. So, I don't put a limit on myself. Wherever you put me, I can go. You can put me out with the fastest guy, and I'm going to use my technique. You can put me out with the slowest guy, and I'm going to, whatever it takes, I'm going to use. I have so many different abilities that I'm great at that I can use on any type of situation, at any type of position, and any level. So, it really, with me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever they need, I can do.
That makes sense. One more question. I'm curious because I don't believe I saw the game, or maybe I just missed the play. But how did your reception come about this past season?
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what it was. It may have been usually Coach back, and they have a numbers thing. So they dress so many DBs, so many receivers, so many running backs and quarterbacks, and we had a 2 quarterback system going on. So I want to say, for whatever reason, we may have sat down a receiver, dressed an extra DB, and sat down a quarterback. And they may have needed me for, they may have needed me for a play. But whenever I touch the ball, my thing is I'm trying to get into the end zone. As you can see in my 2 touchdowns on field goal blocks, that wasn't even an interception or anything. It's just somebody made a play, and the play so happened to. They say when you do the right things in life, the ball just finds its way to you. So I would want to say that's what happened to me this season. The ball just found me a lot, and when it found me, I did what I knew how to do best, and that was run.
I love that. I love that. So I'm curious, if you were to play offense, what position would it be and why?
It depends on the league. So in the IFL, I would definitely try to play quarterback because that's the best position. That's where the best players play. That's where the most dynamic players play. And I'm a player who likes to have the team on my shoulders. I want to be that guy. I want to let my team know that I'm that guy. And I'm dynamic. So, but if you want to say if it's arena football, I would want to play receiver. Because in arena football, the high motion guy is the guy. So whatever position where the guy is, that's where I want to be, because that's what I want to do. I want to be the guy.
That makes perfect sense. So a couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you get out of here. One more question that I did not have on the list for you, but I'm curious, given your perspective from a defensive side of the ball, how difficult is it to guard your 2 quarterback system when you have a guy like Blake Sims, a veteran, and then a guy like TJ Edwards, who's just unbelievable athletic?
Both of those guys are tremendous. They're tremendous players, tremendous men. I appreciate both of what they brought to the game and how they made me expand my game, expand my knowledge of the game. Blake was actually my roommate. So me and Blake had a lot of nights arguing on the chalkboard, drawing up who can beat what coverage can beat this, what offense can beat what coverage. And, just putting all those brains together, it showed me the way quarterbacks thought into this league. So it showed me, all right, if the quarterback's thinking this way, if he's thinking he can throw it right here in this window, how many other quarterbacks is thinking this? Because I feel we have the 2 best quarterbacks here. We have the 2 best, then I guarantee bet that the other quarterback may be thinking the same way. He may be getting coached the same way. So if he's getting coached that way, it's certain things at practice that against Blake I'm going to try. But it's certain things against TJ that I can try that I can't try against Blake. Or certain things against Blake I can't try against TJ. So they just taught me the best of both worlds. So I got to respect certain things from certain quarterbacks. Certain quarterbacks get it out quick. Certain quarterbacks can drop it down. Certain quarterbacks want to run. We had both quarterbacks who can run. So that was a little different. Both quarterbacks can get out with the ball quick. But both of them threw the ball differently. So that was the thing and which challenged me the most. And it kind of helped me playing for different quarterbacks, week in and week out. Whereas if I learned that some throws were more difficult to throw than others. So what I would do is I would make the quarterback make the more difficult throw. So I know that the receiver can be great. The receiver can beat me, but the quarterback has to beat me too. So as soon as I realized that, that's when I started making more plays. I started being more of an dictator, I would want to say. So I know a lot of my old teammates call me Debo because I have a mindset so I want to dictate and I want to kind of play bully ball. I kind of want it to be my way. Right? If you want to run a slant, I'm going to step into your slant zone and make you run it out. And if you run a slant, I'm going to hit you or you're going to run it to me. So that was my type of mindset. And they helped me with that. They helped me play honest. They helped me to understand when I couldn't gamble. And, those guys, they sharpened me. Iron sharpened iron.
100%. I truly believe that. You train with the best, you're going to be the best. Much like if you beat the best, you're going to be the best. I mean, when you're competing against the best talent on a day in, day out basis in practice, it's going to pay off on the field.
Right. And we had a receiver named Germany. We had a Germanic who went to Iowa. Germanic was great. Germanic was one person who I wanted to go with every day. He can run every route, every speed. He can rock you to sleep, or he can take off on you. So, like I was saying, those guys are just guys who I continue to want to be around because I know, every game doesn't go the way you want it to go. You're not going to win every rep. Even though I want to be Debo and I want to win every rep, I have to understand that's not how the game goes because they're professional and they work the same way I work. But I just have to bring something different. I have to bring a different element and understand that you can be great, but you have to know the game too. And so that's what made me a little different. I started to understand the game. I started to understand the spacing. And I understood, like I said earlier, the receiver can be great. The receiver can be wide open, and the quarterback can throw it out of bounds. So that was my thing. I would play mind games with the quarterback and receiver. So now both of them have to beat me, and not just one.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, you're playing chess on a whole nother level, it sounds like.
Right.
Absolutely. So it sounds like Gina's trying to recruit you to Duke City for the 2023 season.
Hey, Miss Gina, hit me up.
It says spots are open. So anybody watching this, if you happen to be looking to play indoor ball for the 2023 season, that's the woman you want to talk to right there for Duke City.
Duke City is a great place. I had a couple former teammates, who out in Duke City, and Darius Thomas, Clavon Hicks. I know a lot of guys out there where they have a great background, great offense. They put up big numbers out there. I hate we had to play them 3 times, man. They gave me a heart attack 3 times in a row.
That's amazing.
Not to trying to run around with Delo Davis.
No doubt. Not to mention, by the way, Ben, my cohort on the new show that we just launched last weekend, NFC Beast. So if you're a fan of NFC East teams, you definitely want to tune in every Saturday here on Shady Sports Network. We also co-cast it with BS3 Network, so definitely check that out every Saturday. Sorry, shameless plug there. But moving on to the last question for the night. Sorry about that. What was that?
No, I'm saying for sure I'll tap in. I'll check it out. Definitely.
I appreciate that. So last question of the night. As much as I want to sit here and talk to you all night, you have an incredible story. I'm going to leave you with this one last question. So after your playing career is over, are you the kind of player we will see tied to the game in some way or another?
Yeah, for sure. I hope so. I hope I catch a coaching job or gig anywhere because, this knowledge that I've gained from so many players and the hours that I put in, I can't take it to the grave with me. And, I know it's going to be a kid who grew up with the same situation as me, feeling that football would be his way out. Football will help change his family, basically change his whole family tree because now that's what it is. You can go to college now and be a millionaire as a college football player if you play your cards right. And so why wouldn't I go back and help? That's how I feel. Go back and share the knowledge. Somebody gave it to me. So if nobody goes back to give knowledge, the game will never keep evolving. That's why players keep getting better and better and better at a younger age. So, yeah, I hope so. I hope I do get around and get a headset on and get the cussing players out in the hollering like my coaches do me right now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So once again, man, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been a lot of fun talking to you. We definitely need to catch back up, come closer to the season, right after you probably sign an XFL or USFL contract.
Yes, sir. I hope so.
Definitely.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your night, man. I really appreciate everything. Is there anybody you want to shout out or anything like that before you get out of here?
I just want to shout out to my family, all my supporters, everybody who's supporting Godspeed in prime time. I thank you. I'm forever going hard for you guys. Godspeed.
Absolutely. Have a great night, man.
And you too. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Once again, that was Cedric Poole, defensive back / kick returner for the Frisco Fighters. He led his team to an unbelievable season. Definitely, if you were in the Texas area like Ben here, you definitely want to check out the Frisco Fighters. If you're not aware, you can check out all the IFL games on YouTube for free, typically Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They have some odd games that are occasionally midweek, but basically go to Indoor Football League at youtube.com. You're going to go ahead and hop on there. And basically what I do is I just hit notifications on every video that comes up because literally if you like football, you're gonna love the indoor game. All the things that you might hate about NFL, the slower play, the lack of a score, when you have those slow defensive battles, that doesn't happen in the indoor game. It's score after score after score. And if you're in the Texas area, like I just mentioned, you definitely want to check out Frisco because the Fighters are one of the best teams in the IFL. I spoke about it before. They ended the regular season with the best record in the league. They ultimately lost in the playoffs, but they had an amazing season. They've got an amazing quarterback. They've got a great coach. They've got some of the best players in the indoor football league in general, including Cedric Poole. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here tonight, but I will leave you guys with a couple more highlight videos that I did not play during the interview. So here's one of them right here. I did just want to say one more thing for anybody who has not done so yet. Like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube page to automatically enter our giveaway. When we hit 500 subscribers, we will be giving away $150 in sports memorabilia of your choice. So if you're a Frisco Fighters fan, you can go get some Frisco Fighters gear. If you're a Carolina Cobras fan, you can go get some Cobras gear. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you can get some Cowboys fan gear. Basically, whatever league, does not matter, whatever sport, whichever you choose, completely up to you. This is Shady Sports Network. It's not just about football. That just happens to be the sport that I particularly love. But with that being said, we want to reward you guys for supporting us, helping us grow. And one way to do that is to give back to you. And that's how we're going to do so. So one lucky winner at 500 subscribers will get $150 in sports memorabilia of their choice. And all you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube page. Any video does not matter. As soon as you're a subscriber, you're automatically entered, and you're automatically entered every time you comment. So if you comment 50 times on a video, you're more likely to win than the person who comments one time on one video and hopes they win. So with that being said, make sure your notifications are on, catch all of our videos, make sure you're hitting like, commenting, and make sure you're subscribed to all our content in the future. Got one more highlight video for you after this one, and then I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for the night and let you guys have the rest of your night to yourself. All right, guys, with that one, I am going to wrap it up tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Once again, shout out to Cedric Poole, defensive back / kick returner from the IFL's Frisco Fighters. Once again, if you have not caught an IFL game, definitely go check out their content on YouTube, Indoor Football League at youtube.com. All their games from this previous season should still be posted up. You definitely want to check out some Frisco games. You definitely want to check out some Duke City games. Really all of the games, in my personal opinion. I was trying to share them all out on the Shady Sports Network webpage this year. I'm going to try and do that again this season. So definitely keep an eye out for all those games. If you haven't done so already, like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once again, I appreciate all your support. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. And definitely hit that like button so we can get this in front of more viewers and hopefully help get Cedric back to the outdoor football game. With that being said, have a great night. I'll catch you guys in the next one. This weekend, I've got a couple guys coming on that you definitely want to catch. So if you haven't done so already, click that notification bell as well.